Welcome to the Monday Morning Wake-Up Call with your host, Carrie Ramage, managing broker at RE/MAX Elite, and Heather Holliday, your social marketing nut. It's so weird, isn't it?
Happy Monday. So the pictures at the beginning are so funny because it just brings back so many just funny memories of different things we've done over the years. So it makes me laugh.
No, I could use a whole bunch of pictures of you. I have like a whole album of Carrie's faces, but I thought I'd be nice.
So I don't want to talk on this too long, but I'll talk a little bit about the Super Bowl because I'm a Floridian and I'm not necessarily a Tampa Bay fan. If the Giants were playing, that would be who I was rooting for. But because I'm a Floridian, I was rooting for Tampa Bay. And I just have to say, there's so many people who are not Tom Brady fans, but I think we can all agree, like, holy mackerel, he is an amazing athlete. I mean, 43 years old, 7th Super Bowl, killing it.
You're crazy.
I know. But what made me think about it is there's so many memes going around from the weekend's performance, especially when he's kind of in that maze going around. And there's so many memes. I don't know if you've seen them, but they did a thing about it on Good Morning America. And John sent me a photo. One of them is the picture, and it's like me looking at the selfies of myself after a night out having cocktails. And then John sent me like 15 pictures of me that he took, like out of focus and whatever. And just, of course, always with the ridiculous face.
Always. I love them though. I mean, it's the many faces of Carrie. I didn't even watch the Super Bowl.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I ended up, it's like, I don't want to watch live TV. I've already feel like I've watched every long, 7 years or more, streaming on like Netflix.
Right.
So I'm just trying to find something else I can start watching. And I think my sister and a couple other people had mentioned the Cobra Kai thing.
Oh, that's a good one.
And I was just like, really? I mean, growing up with a brother, like we always had to watch Karate Kid and stuff. And I was like, well, whatever. I'm just, there's nothing else. And so I'll start watching it. And I think Leo I could see he had only gone like 3 episodes in. But oh my gosh, he just thought it was funny because I'm just giggling all the time. And it was kind of sad because it made me feel really old. My gosh, have I aged this way too? Holy crap. But it was, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. So
right. Right. I mean, it is. It's looking at all the people from Karate Kid, and it's like, ooh, am I that old? Holy mackerel. Yeah, totally.
Oh my gosh. Like, I don't know. So that was the weird part about it, but it was fun. Just, how many things that you remember that you don't even know. Why is this even occupying my brain cells that I even remember the scene that they're referring to or whatever happened, because that was so long ago. But it was funny. And my kids, because they've seen it, but the only Karate Kid they probably know was the remake. So not even like the original.
My kids know the original. I think it's one of those 80s iconic movies where you just...
The Goonies and,
yeah,
Stand By Me, whatever.
Stand By Me, all of those. Yeah, my kids have seen all those just because more their dad than me has made them watch them. So
Willy Wonka, not the remake.
Right? Oh my gosh, right? So anyway, it was a good night of football if you watch football. Kind of a boring game just because the Tampa Bay...
It's a blowout. But I was so happy for just Tampa in general. And I remember when Tom Brady, like when the announcement was made that he went to the Bucs, it's like, why?
Right?
I still don't understand that whole why that even happened. I
Right.
know watching the news here, I'm like, yeah, I get the replay. Oh yeah, I forgot, it's like 8:00 at night. And I'm like, oh yeah. And Hunter comes out, lets us know like, oh my gosh, it's not even a game, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Not
well.
even, and it's true. Not even a game. And it's funny. So where I take Lucy to doggy daycare, they had a thing. If you brought the dog in on Friday, pick the team. And if that team wins, you'll get a free day of daycare. When I dropped Lucy off, I said, I don't really have any skin in the game here. It's not my team. However, I am a Floridian and have been for most of my life. And so, although I don't think they'll win, I'm picking Tampa Bay. And then, holy mackerel, shutout. So I'm getting a free day of doggy daycare, which is exciting.
Waiting for Lucy too, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, she loves it there. So anyway, let's get into it today. And we're talking about using your database to get more business, right? So especially in these times, here's an interesting statistic. There were 80 million online leads in 2019, 80 million, but only 5.5 million transactions. So that's a lot of people online clicking through. I mean, online leads are not what they used to be 10 years ago.
It was like 5.8 million online leads and 5.5 or 5.4 transactions. So the online lead generation was so different 10 years ago. And, the fact that we've been running online leads for that long, it's not even the same as it used to be.
Right? It's not at all. And I think it's just, there's so many different places that a consumer can look, and then, click here for more information. Then you have to put in your name and your email and your telephone number. And if you're doing that on 10 different websites,
and they do, because when we used to track everything, I could see, okay, well, they clicked through on, on Remax, and they were on Homes. They ended up on our pay-per-click campaign. So it's like the same name would be on all of the different, ways that we were advertising. We used to see that 10 years ago. So I can only imagine now all the different ways that you register, and everybody who's in the game, it's only worse now. It's crazy.
Right. So now we're having to look at different things to create lead generation, and really, and it's always been this way. Your sphere of influence is your biggest lead generator. So why don't we spend as much time on that as we do trying to get online leads? So you really need to be engaging your database, right? And are your past customers out there in internet world clicking on things, and then they're getting it spoken to by other realtors, and are they jumping ship because you haven't been engaging with them? And many of us are so lucky to have really loyal customers and clients who, no matter what, will say, Angela's my girl, or Tracy's my realtor, or Carrie is who I work with exclusively. We are super lucky to have that, but you also have to work to cultivate that. And just as another aside, talking about TV watching, I don't know how many people saw the SNL skit over the weekend. Did you see it?
Yes. It was everywhere the day after. So that
was so funny about how, like, when you're in your 30s, and Zillow is where it is like your new dating website, because you're, falling in love with other people's homes. And then they had a realtor kind of, as they clicked, pick up the phone, and it was a Remax agent. So that was awesome to get that shout out from SNL, and it was just such a funny video. But anyway, your sphere of influence, your database, is to me, your biggest, most important lead generating. So what are you doing, and how are you staying in contact with your people? Are you putting them are you even using a CRM? Okay.
And I can say that's probably one of my bigger pet peeves, is working with agents. And so many, we always say, like, that's one of the first things, get the database. I don't care if it's in Excel, Google Sheets, whatever, go through every single person. And I know back when I got my license, I went through the phone book. so that I can get the addresses and
Oh, but you're right. I mean, and you've always said, you know, and Susan, who used to work with us in the management side, and now she is crushing it as an agent. I mean, she is crushing it. She just, I think she put a $1.8 million house under contract. That's her listing over the weekend with multiple
awesome
offers. But she used to, you know, when we had new agents come in, just like you say, even if it's just an Excel spreadsheet, get your people in a list. I am the worst.
You're not alone though. I can't, I mean, I would probably say 80% get, you know, it's like they start and then they get busy and it's not something that's in their task list for any part of the real estate transaction, like adding them to a database.
You need to add that to your task list, or you need to calendar that as, even if you just only do it one day a week, you know, for an hour, updating your CRM, you know, and Sandy just said, it's hard to get back into it after the holidays, but also there are so many agents in our county anyway right now. Brevard County has over 4,500 agents right now. And we have a population of, I think, 550,000. That's a lot of agents for that amount. So there's a lot of competition out there. And so if you're really wanting to hone in on stuff, let's start with your CRM so that you can stay in touch with your database.
And Barbara's awesome at this. I mean, it really just shows, you know, using your database, and we're going to kind of go over, and we'll probably use them as an example as we usually do, just how important it is to stay in front. And I do want to mention, because there's so many different ways, and one of them is not listed on our list, but there's an agent, Sheldon Neal, love him, the British agent in New Jersey. And I know I've had him in past, you know, presentations. He was always kind of known for holding the sold sign, kind of like a Where's Waldo. He's kind of photobombing the you know, the beautiful sold photo of some sort with the family, but he's somewhere, like under the car, in the window, on top of the roof. Like he's always somewhere with a sold sign. And that was always so much fun. But he also does a lot of lives, and Super Bowl. Every year he does kind of not a bingo card, but one of the, you know, the competition.
The
scorecard thingies, right?
The square things, yeah.
So he gets everyone involved, goes live, does it every quarter, has different prizes that he gives. But I can say it just gets bigger and bigger every single year. But it's something that all of his past clients, all of his realtor friends, like everyone gets involved. It doesn't like cost anything, and it's so much fun. So every single quarter, we're waiting for them to go live. And I think consistently doing fun stuff like that. And every summer when he always does, and it's so funny, but you know, when summer comes, he goes and gets like the craziest water, like pool floats you could ever imagine. So he pretty much does like a walk around his whole family, all gets to showcase one and the kind of jump in the pool. But I mean, it's like the craziest. I mean, it makes me go on Amazon like, oh my God, that's so funny. You know, when I had the pool in Florida, like, what? I've never seen such a crazy pool float before. But, you know, kind of being consistent, doing your lives and engaging is also fun when you're making those connections.
Especially when it's something creative. So when you think about Sheldon, and he's British, and he's embracing American football and doing squares for football, right? Because their football is not our football. You know, we're in a, So that's really cool. And so I'm just going to jump around from what we have listed here, but client appreciation parties, and Barbara Lynn and her team, they are awesome at that. They've done them consistently for, I don't even know
as long as I've known them.
Before she was even an agent, it was just her mom and Charlie, you know. So and I know this year, I don't think they did one, but I honestly can't remember. But they've had so many just different creative ideas, and they have such a great turnout of people just coming and participating in them. So client appreciation parties, which is something I personally have never done. It is a great way of keeping yourself in front of your people at least once a year, you know, and then they feel good about referring you to other people because you're thanking them for doing that. So I think that's that's super.
And you have the pie day and all that stuff that people do, even if it's just that. I mean, you could have, the big events like Barbara does. I know Steve used to do the whole berm thing over at the Space Coast Stadium. That was always a fun family event. And you can get your partners involved, preferred partners that can kind of help offset the cost of this as well. So it doesn't have to be this huge expense. You can get your partners involved to kind of help you.
Right.
And it's be there as well.
It's an amazing way of really marketing, advertising without spending the money on lead generation, which is usually only like 5 to 8% of your business. Why not spend the money on something
It's like retaining. It's so much easier to retain people that you already know, like, and trust than it is to go out and fish for people you don't even know and you may not even like them. So it's it's that whole retaining, or like in ours, the retaining versus recruiting. It's just so, our agents, I think if you just focus on your current people that you really like, and you're probably going to like their friends, because it's just that kind of circle of the sphere of, and the word of mouth is huge. Think of Amazon. How many times do you buy something and not at least kind of look at the reviews on that? But it's that social, there's a word and it just floated right out of my brain. But just the referrals that you can get from people that have already worked with you, I think that's so much easier than fishing for people you don't know.
Well, and a lot of times, depending on the type of person it is, the recommendation alone from a past client or a friend is enough to get you the listing, period. You're not even having to go up against 3 or 4 other agents that you would do if they just found you out in internet land, and I'll be honest, when I walk into a listing appointment and I have been referred by a friend or a past client or whatever, I kind of will start a little bit talking about Remax Elite, and Carry Ramage, but I'll pause before I get too far, and I will just look at them point blank and say, before I go any further, because I'm happy to share all my stats and statistics, is the recommendation alone from whoever, John Doe, good enough? Or do you want to hear all this? And I have to tell you, 97% of the time, they say, oh, no, we're hiring you.
And let's just get to the paperwork and the goodies.
Just get to let's talk about your home. Let's talk about how I'm going to market it. Let's talk about what you love about your home, So those are the best types of referrals. There's, I saw one yesterday in a Facebook group I'm in for pop buys. She bought small pizza boxes, and in the pizza box was a bag of dough, a thing of, pizza sauce, cheese, and pepperoni or whatever. And she had it, they were sealed, and she had some cute little label. I don't really remember what it said. And she delivered them to past clients' houses as a Super Bowl pizza party. And they didn't have to make the pizza right then, obviously, because some people had, but it was the cutest idea. And then she had tons of clients sending back photos of their kids making the pizza. It was an awesome idea.
Pop-bys are a great idea, and there's so many ideas, even just on the internet, if you just search.
Right.
Or different groups. There's so many creative and fun ideas for doing pop-bys, and it's never a bad thing to be able to reconnect or anything like that.
Yeah, no, it was the cutest idea. I can't remember how many, but there's a Facebook group and it's pop buys. I don't know, something, but if you Google pop buys, you'll see it, and you can join that group and get tons of super good ideas of things to do. You can also use social media to find reasons. We talk about this all the time, to find reasons to send note cards. Look, and I always say this, my note cards are right here. So you see something on social media, someone is having a baby, they're a previous client of yours, find out if they're registered somewhere, send them a little gift or send them a note. If you see something that somebody's done something, whatever, gotten accepted to a great college or gotten some sort of scholarship, send that family a congratulatory note. That's another way of letting them know that you're engaged, you're thinking about them. Always personal notes, I think. And then also the other thing that we always remembering is bringing value. So what are you sending them? So this is the time of year in Florida for not renewal, but signing up for homestead exemption, because we now renew automatically, but reminding your customers and clients to register their home for homestead exemption. So that's bringing them value. That's bringing them something that they can use. Same thing with reaching out to your clients and just ask them, can I give you a CMA, or just automatically send them a CMA annually? Do they need it more than annually? I don't know. I guess it depends on what kind of CMA program you have and how much time you have to put into it. But if you could do a CMA quickly and send it to your clients just to give them an idea of what their home is worth now, especially with such low inventory.
I mean, I would think the CMA, even if you don't do it every single year, right now with inventory being the way it is, it's probably not a bad idea.
Right. So, and people may be thinking about it. What's crazy is 2020, more homes sold than in 2019, 2018, with a fourth of the inventory. Think about that. That's just unbelievable. I mean, things are happening, but again, it's make sure your home is priced right. Make sure it's marketed correctly. I keep seeing this over and over, is it matters who you work with. I'm seeing that over and over again. And I have to tell you, on both ends of the stick, whether I've had the listing or I've had the buyer, I recently had a listing with multiple offers, and my seller picked one of the deals because we had previously worked with the other agent, and he said, she knows how to get the deal done. I'm picking this offer. Who you work with matters. Or on the opposite side, when I'm, with a buyer, and if it's an agent I previously worked with, or if it isn't, it's not always just about the offer price. It's about the amount of the inspection days. It's about, how quickly you're going to close the loan, how much money you're putting in escrow, and is the agent you're working with going to get the job done? And yes, exactly, Sandy, making sure that they're not already working with a realtor, because we don't want to step on somebody else's toes. That's a big, and we're going to delve into the code of ethics next week, but that's a big realtor code of ethics no is interfering with an exclusive relationship between realtors. So make sure you're asking the question, are you already working with somebody? So, but yeah, I mean, who you're working with matters, and those relationships that you build in this realtor community, super duper important, right? What else? So,
I think one of the biggest things is getting a CRM.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's not it's just like a website, a CRM. There is not a one size fits all. There are so many different CRMs out there. It's a matter of doing research. But I think if you get a CRM and actually use it.
Yeah, actually use it.
Potential. And you might have to time block, set aside an hour a week. For me, that's 6 to 7 in the morning. Yep. When nobody's around. I mean, even my dogs don't care. They just want to be asleep. So it's making sure that you're time blocking that to really use that so that you can write notes on anybody that you do a pop-by or the CMA or anything that you're doing. Get as much information as you can, write notes on their dogs' names, their family, anything, and just really, I think sometimes if you haven't had anything, it'll be a lot of work, but it's something that time blocking to get that done, to use a CRM. I think like Follow Up Boss is one of the big ones.
Yep.
I really like the first app. Even if you're only going to use it for the free 90 days to help organize your database. And it really tries to find the email addresses, phone numbers, and addresses for you. I mean, that just that alone, if you're not going to pay, I don't even know how much, like $30 a month or something. But even if you don't use it, you get 90 days free if you're with Remax. Sign up, get every single person in there, let them help organize it. I mean, it is very big brother technology that we have access to now.
Completely. It is.
100 trigger points. Like if somebody's buying cheap Home Depot paint, they're probably more likely to be in the mindset of selling versus somebody who's spending good money on paint. Same with carpet and stuff. It's crazy.
So Sandy, Heather's talking about the first app, which is a Remax product, and you can get a free 90 days. And what it does is it connects with your database that's in your phone, but it will populate their current address. It'll put it all together, so it will update your contacts. What it also does, though, is it can predict, because it is very big brother, based on these people's shopping habits, if they might, or their internet searches, if it's presumed that they may be listing their home soon. So, and this is funny, one of my friends' clients, when I did the first app, it showed so-and-so is a 4-star, likely to be selling her home in the next 3 months. And sure enough, we've already closed and sold her home. But what it'll also tell you is so-and-so's house is on the market, and it could be somebody that you missed following up with. And you're like, how did that happen that they've listed with someone else and they never called me? I clearly was not keeping in touch,
I think that's the part that people don't like, but it's also showing you the power of your database.
Yeah.
So you don't want to get those. So I think, and we were using the first app before Remax kind of acquired it.
Yep.
We were paying a lot more money for it than what they would have to pay for now. But if at minimum to use it for the free 90 days to get everybody organized, if you're using a program like our office, we have the Real Geeks, we have the KV Core, like export all of that database and put it in there.
Yeah.
Like you have this entire database, because not only will this try to work and match all this different data for you, but you can always export it if you don't want to do that. And you could export it. You could run Facebook leads just to that list. Like, are you still looking to buy or sell? There's so many different things you can do if you actually work your database. But
I just say, don't call them up and say, I see you've been doing some shopping. Are you going to list your home? Because that's really creepy.
I think I've heard of an agent doing that. Like, why did you list your home with so-and-so? Don't do that. It's a perfect way to add them to your note card thing, find something on social. What's a way, how can you reach out to them?
Right.
In a non, like, what are you thinking? Why are you thinking of, are you really thinking of selling your home? So use that information that you get to find a reason for you to reach out to them. And I know we always talk about the note cards, but I think that's great. Just, you want to be in their face.
And also, from your CRM, consistent monthly emails that have value. Talk about local market reports in your email, or local events, or you have
the launch schedule. It's crazy. There's so many different things going on.
Yeah, the launches for sure. So send that out in an email, something that's of value, to them, something that they'll want to open the email and read it and remember you and think about you. It's about constantly reminding them that you sell houses without banging them on the head with it. You do not have to include a card in everything you do. You don't. They know who you are. They know, my past clients know I sell real estate, hopefully, right? So all they really need to do is see my name. And no offense, because I do give, as my closing gift, it's a shopping bag, like a grocery shopping bag, reusable, with stuff inside of it. And it does have my logo on it, but it's not, knives with my logo and a cutting board with my logo. And, it's not a million things with my logo. Those gifts are nice, but think about it. If you got some knives from someone, and no disrespect to anybody who's doing it with their logo on it, I don't know, are you using that? I think you would just, if you had the knives, whether they had your logo or not, you're going to remember who gave them to you. At least I do. I mean, I remember when I use a salad bowl that I got it from my best friend from childhood's mother. I mean, I just remember it. When I take out the salad bowl, I think about Linda Weil. I mean, and her last name isn't even Weil anymore, but I mean, it's just, it's you. I think you remember stuff. I remember I got this crystal bowl that it doesn't really go with my decor, but at Halloween, I take it out and I put skull heads in it. I know I got that from my Aunt Kathleen, I mean, so gifts you give to clients, they're going to remember what it was. And, here's another one, following up with a past sale. You don't always have to give the closing gift at closing. It's a really good reason to stop by and see how they've decorated, see how they've moved in, to bring the gift after closing. Give them 2 or 3 weeks and bring them something, and maybe bring them something that reminds them why they bought the house. I remember when I bought my house in Norwalk, Connecticut, and that's sort of like a fishing town, or it's on the coast, and there's a lot of fishing that goes on there, commercial type fishing. And my agent brought me, it was just this boat that you would hang on the wall, and it had, you could put it had little shelves in it. You could put little things in it, but it reminded me of Norwalk, and it reminded me of her. It was in my bathroom, and every time I saw it, I thought of Harriet. I mean, it's just.
You must have a good memory.
Well, yeah, that too. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm not the norm, but I do. I remember everything. Like, I got this for Christmas this year. It has my name on it, and it has a butterfly. Okay, the person who gave it to me didn't put their name on it, right? I got it from Connie Trincali. I'll always remember that I got that from Connie, so anyway, I mean, I think a certain amount of logo, because clearly I'm sitting here with this mug. I mean, a certain amount of that is good, but overkill is not necessary, So.
As I look at your backdrop and mine.
I know. In case you weren't sure, we work for Remax.
I call that product placement, but I don't know. I think that there's so much value you can bring to your past clients, but I think that you need a CRM to help you with that. Even if it's just to make sure, and someone else had mentioned, always put a task to every one of your clients. And I thought, what? And I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. But as you're marking different things, is make sure you have a follow-up, even if it's in 6 months, so that their name pops back up as something that you need to do. I just think I think it's a huge investment for you, and it's not even a huge cost just to have some sort of a CRM.
Yep.
And you need a time block. It's super important, because it's, I see the amount of money that people throw at these online leads, and you can see 80 million leads, 5.5 million properties sold.
Right.
That's that's like playing the lottery.
Yeah.
Unless you have and that's also another thing, is a lot of people who pay for the online leads do not have a great CRM. They don't have a good follow-up. They just, there's no phone number, trash. Or, I'm just going to email once, trash. They don't have that huge follow-up plan that when I track, I can see like our leads that are closing are, they're 2 years out. So unless you have a really good game on that follow-up, and we have agents that they totally work them.
Yes. I mean, we have Jennifer Carson comes to mind. She is the queen of working online leads, and she knows that it takes 7 to 10 touches to get somebody to respond. And these are leads that may not have telephone numbers, but that's a lot of touches to a complete stranger.
Right.
Have your CRM. And that's why I was like, I was kind of making faces when you were talking,
make faces? Never.
The light bulb went on in my head. There's people in your database that you aren't reaching out to enough. I mean, I have plenty of them that I'm on Facebook with them and I engage often, but don't forget about the people you slip through the cracks. But also, I don't have this happen often. There are people I don't put in my CRM for whatever. It just wasn't a match.
Right. No, absolutely. No, but the ones that are, you need to work those. And I think especially right now with inventory being so low, reach out to the people who do know, like, and trust you to try to, get more business in different ways, whether they're looking to buy or sell. You want to be top of mind.
Right.
When they are looking to do that, or they're friends of friends. I just think it's such a huge missed opportunity. So make sure you have a CRM, and make sure that you're setting aside time to actually work it.
Right.
The biggest thing is, well, number one is they don't even have a database.
Right.
So I think that would be number one, but invest in the CRM for you, whatever it may be, whatever you're looking to do. There's so many different CRMs out there. You may need something simple. You may want something more robust. That's, if you are doing those online leads, something like Follow Up Boss to be able to kind of incubate all this and just work with mailing newsletters to be able to.
Just make sure it's one you're going to use. So whatever it is, there's one that's been around forever, and I paid for it for years and years and years and never used it. Just make sure. What?
Top Producer?
That would be it.
Well, I think that there were so many parts to it.
I know.
Yeah, people just got overwhelmed, and that's where it's like that time blocking, and use the sections you want, because some have more than you'll ever use.
Yeah.
Just like we do. It's find the parts that you do want to use, maximize that, baby step it.
So this week's thoughts are doubt. Your doubts do not serve you. So when you feel yourself doubting yourself, right? That's not working for you. That is, how do I say? Look, and I just lost my email that I need to be looking at.
So when you find yourself doubting your actions, just remember to choose to believe in you.
That's it. Thank you. Self-doubt is such a big thing. I mean, we are our biggest critics. We talked about that last week, I think. So yes, always believe in yourself, right?
And then, so the words of wisdom this week, which is always one of my favorites, is faith is taking that first step, even when you can't see that full staircase.
Do you know what? This is really funny.
That's all that you posted that. And I was like, what are you taking?
I didn't see it was in there. I saw it was in the other email. We do that Monday morning email that goes out. I took it from that, and I'm like, oh.
Well, that's where these both come from.
Right. Yes, every week. As always, we're on the same page, whether we know it or not. So I can read all my notes.
And we have our Monday morning wake up call.com, which has all the live broadcasts. It has our podcast that you can subscribe to.
Yeah, please subscribe to our podcast, and just shameless plug. If you're on Apple Podcasts. Yeah,
my sister is like a huge podcaster, so she said there's something I'm supposed to say. She's supposed to text me what I'm supposed to say.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so, I want to say subscribe and review or something. I don't know. She says it's something that they all say.
Oh, really? So
she hasn't texted it to me yet.
We'll just elaborate. Subscribe to our podcast, and please give us a favorable review. Shameless plug for Monday morning wake up call with Carrie and Heather.
So that's awesome. And then until next week, as always, wake up, kick ass, and repeat.
Thanks for joining us.